Kourtney Kardashian reportedly proposed a multi-million-dollar deal to her ex, Scott Disick, to keep his distance from their children. Hi, before we continue, please subscribe to the channel for all Kardashians news and update. Kourtney Kardashian's personal life has always been something the public follows closely, especially when it comes to her relationship with her ex-partner Scott Disick, the father of her 3 children. Over the years, their connection has been described as complicated, emotional, and at times, tense. Now, new claims have emerged that add yet another layer to the story. These allegations come from Mark Behar, a man who once worked as a bodyguard for the Kardashian family, and they are already sparking a lot of conversation. According to Behar, there was a time when Scott Disick was allegedly offered a huge amount of money, millions of dollars, to stay away from his own children. This claim has stunned many because it's not just about personal disagreements anymore, it touches on the deep and emotional bond between a father and his kids. If true, it suggests that there were attempts to keep Scott from having a role in their lives, not just as Kourtney's ex, but as a father. The story reportedly began to shift when Travis Barker entered Kourtney's life. Kourtney and Travis's relationship has been highly publicized, from their affectionate public appearances to their wedding celebrations. With this new chapter for Kourtney, the dynamic between her and Scott seemed to change in ways that were visible even to the public. Sources close to the family have said that Scott began to worry he was losing his place, not only in Kourtney's life but within the entire Kardashian family. For years, he had been part of their inner circle. He appeared in family gatherings, TV episodes, and vacations, and he shared strong bonds with Kourtney's sisters and even Kris Jenner. But Behar's claims go further than a simple emotional distance. He alleges that Kris Jenner and Khloe Kardashian were also involved in what he describes as an effort to push Scott out of the family environment. He says there was even a direct attempt to remove Scott from the family's public image and gatherings. According to him, Scott was pressured not to attend certain events, both private family moments and public media appearances where the Kardashians were present. The most shocking part of Behar's statement is his claim that Scott was offered millions of dollars if he would sign legal documents giving up his rights to see his children. In his exclusive interview with In Touch, Behar describes how this supposed offer was presented. He says Scott told him about Kris and Khloe's involvement in the situation. He recounts Scott saying that they wanted him to completely step away from his role as a father in exchange for the money. Behar quotes Scott's reaction in blunt words. Scott allegedly said, "Forget that," making it clear he had no intention of giving up his children for any amount of money. Behar says Scott even came to him for advice about how to handle such a shocking proposal. For years, viewers of the Kardashian family's reality shows have seen Scott and Kourtney's ups and downs. They have moments of closeness and moments of tension, but the connection between them through their children, Mason, Penelope, and Reign, has always been there. When Travis Barker joined Kourtney's life, fans began to notice a shift in how Scott was featured, both in the show and in family events. While he remained close to his children, the family gatherings looked different, and his role seemed less central. One of the most public examples of this change was when Scott did not receive an invitation to Kourtney and Travis's wedding. The event was a major moment for the Kardashian family, and for someone like Scott, who had been included in nearly every important family celebration for years, this was a painful exclusion. A source told People magazine that even though Scott knew the wedding was coming, it was still very hard for him to accept. The source explained that Scott had always been welcomed by the family, even during difficult times in his life, but now he found himself completely left out of one of their biggest celebrations. For Scott, missing the wedding was more than just skipping a party. It was a symbolic moment that showed how much his position within the family had changed. The same source said he wasn't handling it well. And while he has never completely lost touch with the Kardashians, it's clear that his place is no longer what it used to be. Despite the challenges with Kourtney and the alleged tensions with other family members, Scott's bond with his children has remained strong. On his social media, he often posts photos and videos of himself spending time with Mason, Penelope, and Reign. These moments show a softer side of him, taking them on trips, having fun at home, or simply being present in their everyday lives. To him, fatherhood appears to be one of the most important parts of his identity. The claim that anyone would try to pay him to give up his rights to see his children paints a very intense picture of the situation. If Behar's statements are true, it would mean that behind the glamour of public appearances and polished Instagram posts, there were private conversations and decisions being made that could have changed the children's relationship with their father forever. What makes this even more complicated is the role that public perception plays in the Kardashian family. Every move they make is watched by millions. Any change in family dynamics, who appears in photos, who's invited to events, who's left out, gets noticed and discussed online. For someone like Scott, whose life has been deeply intertwined with the family both personally and professionally for years, being pushed out would not just be an emotional blow, but a public one too. Scott has built his own following and career in part through his association with the Kardashians. Appearing on their shows and being part of their family life gave him a platform that he might not have had otherwise. So, being sidelined doesn't just affect his personal relationships, it could also have an impact on how the public sees him and on the opportunities that come his way. Behar's claims, whether fully accurate or not, have certainly reignited public interest in the Kourtney-Scott dynamic. People are discussing whether money should ever come into the picture when it comes to a parent's relationship with their children. Many feel strongly that no amount of money could replace the role of a loving parent in a child's life. Scott's alleged rejection of the offer, if true, will likely be seen by his supporters as proof that his bond with his kids is more important than anything else. The relationship between Kourtney, Scott, and Travis is a complex one. Blended families can often face difficulties, and when there is fame, public attention, and money involved, those difficulties can be magnified. Even though Kourtney has moved on in her romantic life, Scott will always have a connection to her through their children. Navigating that connection while respecting new relationships is something many families struggle with, just without the cameras and headlines. If these allegations are real, they also raise questions about how decisions are made within such a high-profile family. The Kardashians are known for managing their public image carefully, and some might wonder whether excluding Scott from events is about personal feelings or about shaping the public story they want to tell. Still, through all the drama, the most important part of the story is the children. Mason, Penelope, and Rain are growing up in a unique environment, with parents who are both famous and part of one of the most talked about families in the world. For them, having strong relationships with both their mother and father could provide stability in the middle of so much public attention. Thanks for watching. Please do well to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more Kardashian updates.